Also ahead, one of Trump's allies in the Senate makes light of the humiliating nature of his relationship with the former president. Plus, Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville has held up crucial military promotions since February over the Pentagon's abortion policy. His unprecedented campaign has the Pentagon again warning about potential disruptions to troop readiness and military relationships.
Because of the Republican Senate and the radicalism of Tommy Tuberville that's being, allowed by the rest of the Republicans. The United States Marine Corps doesn't have a commandant for the first time in 150 years. Now, the Army is without a leader again.
Wait, the United States Navy no longer has a commandant? Now you guys have just lost your goddamn minds.
Because of the radicalism of Republicans in the United States Senate. That's something we don't usually say. It's usually the House.
I love that. I love how he just said the radicalism. Because that's what you guys are. You guys are nothing but imbecilical radicals that have no business knowing why or even understanding what those documents even contained. I swear to God, Tuesday Trump is in jail.
But they're sitting back, letting Tommy Tuberville do this and just strip the leadership of the United States military, which I guess follows with what Republicans in the House have been doing, where they've been calling the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, a pig, or just attacking them constantly. So this war against the United States military by Republicans continues.
It's a really interesting time for the country.
Well, it's a dangerous time.
I would agree with that.
In so many ways, but also when my former party declares war against the readiness of the United States military, it's a real problem. Based on, again, these social issues. Debate the social issues. That's fine. Have the debate. But for God's sake, don't stand in the way of the readiness of the United States Armed Forces, which is what they're doing.
Literally, how can you support a party that would cripple the response time of the one department that's supposed to keep you safe from people like Russia? Unless you want Putin to send his troops into your shores. That would be kind of stupid to handicap your military.
With us, we have the host of Way Too Early, White House Bureau Chief at Politico, Jonathan Lemire. U.S. Special Correspondent for BBC News, Katty Kay is back.
Katty's back.
Yay, Katty's back. And White House Editor for Politico, Sam's back. Sam Stein is back.
He's back, yes.
And as always, with us, former U.S. Attorney and senior FBI official Chuck Rosenberg. Good to have you all this morning. We start this week, of course, with a flurry of legal action in the latest indictment of Donald Trump, just days after being formally charged for his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. The former president spent the weekend testing the limits of the judge assigned to the case. During Thursday's arraignment, the magistrate judge warned Trump against interfering in the case, telling him that his bond could be revoked if he tried to influence a juror, threaten or bribe a witness, or retaliate against anyone giving information to prosecutors. Despite telling the judge that he understood her warning, just one day later, the former president posted on his social media site, quote, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." That message set off alarm bells within the Justice Department, where special counsel Jack Smith quickly asked a judge to impose...
Okay. In any normal case of a civilian doing something like this, it's straight to jail. Okay? It's straight to jail. You have breached your bond. You go to jail. That's the end of it. There is no discussion. There is no whatever. you're gone. That's it.
Impose a protective order in the case to block Trump from sharing evidence turned over to his defense team on social media. The DOJ's request stated, quote, if the defendant were to begin issuing public posts or using details or, for example, grand jury transcripts obtained in discovery here, it could have a harmful, chilling effect on witnesses or adversely affect the fair administration of justice in
So
this
true.
case.
Absolutely true.
In response, Judge Tanya Chutkan gave Trump's legal team until 5 o'clock this afternoon to respond to the DOJ's request. The former president's lawyers then in turn asked for a 3-day extension. Here we
Nope.
go, something that the Justice Department balked at. In
Yep.
a response filing, Smith wrote, quote, rather than spend time complying with the court's order, the defendant drafted a filing as to why he did not have time to review and consider the 5-page proposed protective order. The judge concurred with prosecutors and shot down Trump's request to have today's deadline pushed back. While all this was going on, the former president continued to go after those involved in the case over the weekend, despite being warned not to do so. His targets included former Vice President Mike Pence, who is a potential witness for prosecutors. Also, Judge Chutkan herself, and of course Jack Smith, both on social media
Jackie
and
boy.
during a speech in Alabama.
Oh, wait, what about
Deranged Jack Smith. Doesn't he look deranged? You see the picture with the purple robe? He's a deranged human being. We're getting stronger by the day. Somebody said you should treat him nicer. Maybe he'd be nice. Let me tell you, this guy is a lost soul, bad guy.
So, Chuck Rosenberg, I just keep going back to everything I've ever seen regarding proceedings before federal judges and federal courts. And, you know, we talk about equal justice under the law. Yes, Donald Trump has actually been indicted for trying to overthrow a presidential election. But, Chuck, I just, again, in my limited experience,
Okay, and I want to be very clear with this. And I'm even going to rewind this so you can hear exactly why he's being indicted.
has actually been indicted for trying to overthrow a presidential election.
For overthrowing the presidential election is the exact reason why he is being indicted. It doesn't matter if you lost. You don't fight it. You don't try and withhold the power of the United States government as a hostage or as a bargaining chip. Your former president literally was trying to sell the United States military secrets to the highest bidder. Don't believe me? Look at how much his net worth is. Actually, let me pull that up for you so you can see it right here. Live. Well, not live, but as I am recording this, I am doing this. Donald Trump net worth. Boom! Right there. See that? 2.5 billion with a B. I would like to know how much his net worth was before he was president. Just saying.
But Chuck, I just, again, in my limited experience, but, you know, being around this a good bit, I've just never known of a federal judge that would allow a defendant to publicly threaten a prosecutor, stir up death threats against a prosecutor, let alone question the integrity of the court itself, the federal judge itself. I'm wondering, I mean, equal justice under the law. Are we carving out a special exception for Donald Trump here if his bail is not revoked?
Yeah, I hope not, Joe, and I don't think so. I think the judge is handling this properly for now so far, right? She's being patient and firm, and she's laying down clear rules. In other words, for instance, minor point, she didn't give Mr. Trump's lawyers more time to argue a frivolous motion. She's requiring their response today. I've seen judges do something like this. They're patient to a point, and then they're no longer patient. And this is reasons sort of...
Because judges are human beings, just like you and me. And when they decide that a person is a lost cause, a real lost cause, a real bad person, or as Donald Trump would say, a real bad man, a bad man. Well, you are the bad man, Trump, and this only proves it.
Number 37, 38, and 39, why you don't want to be Mr. Trump's lawyers. Because you're forced over and over again to say things that are nonsense and to take positions in court that are frivolous. And a little context here might be helpful. When the government's asking for a protective order, that is not an unusual ask. The government is about to provide reams of information and data, some of it quite sensitive, to the defense team as part of the discovery process. And if the defense misuses that stuff, if Mr. Trump starts posting the names of witnesses and what they say on social media, there are real consequences to that. Not just that witnesses could be intimidated or harassed or threatened, but potentially worse. And so I think the judge is watching this very carefully, handling it appropriately. And if you push her too far, there will be consequences for Mr. Trump and his lawyers, as there ought to be.
Well, I mean, there certainly should be, Sam Stein, but you have a prosecutor being threatened by Donald Trump online and in a speech. He's called deranged. I'm coming after you. He calls the federal judge biased. He attacks a witness in the case, trying to intimidate the witness. And listen, let me just help everybody that's involved in this case if they can't figure it out. Donald Trump was trying to get the names, or people around Donald Trump were trying to get the names of FBI agents out that searched his Mar-a-Lago home, desperately trying to get them out so they would be threatened. We now have the same thing that will happen here. They give Donald Trump information. Maybe he doesn't post it on social media, but he gives it to Steve Bannon or Roger Stone or somebody else, and they put the names out. I mean, it seems to me that this is going to have to be a tough protective order, and Donald Trump's going to have to be told he's going to jail if the terms are, bail's revoked, if the terms are violated, because we all know the terms are going to be violated.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Chuck obviously knows better than me. He's more seasoned in this field than I am. But I do have to imagine that we are in unique circumstances here. It's probably unprecedented.